Welcome to the station. Welcome to the station.
Yo, I'm super excited because today marks our first episode of the Station Podcast. Listen, those of you know I've been talking about doing the podcast for a while now, and the time has finally come. A lot of times we think about things and we have these thoughts and we have these visions, but sometimes we can rush the process of things and put it out too soon or do it too prematurely. But the time has come, and the time is right now in year 2026 to be intentional. And I have launched Station Talk. Station Talk is a simple platform. It's a platform where we bridge the gap between reality and spirituality. It's the platform where we deal with spiritual, mental, physical, and financial things. It's the platform where you come, where everything you need you can get. I'll say it and I'll give it to you like this. You don't go to the gas station because you're good, but you go to the gas station because you need something. You go to the gas station because you need gas. You go to the gas station because you may want a cold drink, you may want a bag of chips, you may want something from the gas station. I know where I'm from back in Buffalo, New York, you can get everything at the gas station. You could get a fitted, you could get some sneakers, you could get a white tee and all that back in the day. And if you're really at a good one, you can get a hot meal and steak stubs. Steak stubs be hitting, and them chicken wings be hitting on Ferry. Y'all know what I'm talking about out there back in Buffalo. But anything that you needed, everything that you needed, you could get at the station. So Station Talk is the place where we don't run from it, we grow from it. I want to say that again. We don't run from it, we grow from it. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it in its entirety. We're going to talk about it as a whole. And I'm going to give it to you from the reality side. And I'm also going to give it to you from the spiritual side. Because I tell people, I can't help who I am. I can't help what God has grown me to be. I cannot help who God has called me to be. But I do have the ability to bridge the gap because I've seen it on both sides. So this is Station Talk. I hope you're ready. I hope you're on the edge of your seat. I hope you're sitting back and you got your cold ice water and you got your chips or whatever, and you tune in with us here on Station Talk. Now, listen, I want to let you know really quickly that I am a man of many hats. I'm a barber. I used to do music. I still dibble and dabble with it a little bit. I now pastor a church out here in the Lake Worth, Fort Worth area, Refuel Station Church. And then I'm also now an author. I wrote a book about 8 months back called The YSBS Guidebook, where your struggles bring your success. A disturbance in the road just puts you on the purpose path of what God has designed for your life. In this book, I talk about my own personal struggles, excuse me. I talk about my own personal experiences in my life from a real transparent place. I don't sugarcoat anything. Maybe some stuff in here I could have probably kept to myself, but I feel like when it comes to life and when it comes to helping people and when it comes to giving the testimonies of your life, you got to be all the way real. You got to get all the way in the trenches with it so God can pull you out of it. So I keep it 100 in this book. My motto for this book is pivot your mindset, not your foundation. Now, I may ruffle little feathers with this right now because some of you think the GOAT is LeBron James. Some of you think the GOAT is Michael Jordan, and he is. But my personal GOAT is Kobe Bryant. And what I've learned about athletes that are standout athletes, the best athletes know how to score off of their pivots, or they know how to make plays off of their pivots. And what we have to learn to do, and this is what I talk about in this book, is understanding that your gift is for your purpose and that you use all of your giftings to align with your purpose. And if you come into a bump in the road, you have to learn how to pivot your mindset and not your foundation, because you can still accomplish the things that you're trying to accomplish off of your pivot. So I want to make sure everybody know that this book is available to you. I'll put a link on the bottom of the episode or on the bottom of the comments for you guys to check it out. But today is our first episode, and I want to deal with something that I believe a lot of us struggle with. I believe a lot of us have moments where we don't know how to move from this because we have the posture of, I'm not perfect. We have the posture of, well, I'm not where I need to be yet. We have the posture of, well, I don't think, y'all know the things we say, y'all know the excuses we make. But today's episode is entitled, I'm Not Perfect, I'm Positioned. I'm not perfect, I'm positioned. The reality of dealing with your identity and being authentically you with your identity, but not letting you be stuck because you're not where you think you need to be, but you need to be where he positions you to be. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. Every last one of us know how to make some excuses. Everybody know how to make excuses. Matter of fact, I think the old school saying was excuses is like buttholes. Everybody got them. Pause. I know y'all probably don't play the pause game, but I gotta say that because for some folk that get on this live, I know they probably or get on this podcast, I know they're gonna be like, "Whoa, bro!" But let me just keep it real. Um, I'm not perfect, but I'm positioned. I want to ask you guys a question, and I really need you to be transparent. I need you to be honest. I need you to be real with yourself. How many of you feel like you got to be perfect before you can move forward in what you're doing? Or how many of you feel like you ought to be perfect in the field that you're in to make sure before you move to what God has called you to do or before you move to what you feel you've been purposed and you've been positioned to do? Because the reality is a lot of us are in areas or are working in a field where we really have not been positioned. What I mean by that is you really have not been put there, but your gift brought you there, or you thought that is the lane that you're supposed to be in, and you keep hitting that halt, right? You keep hitting that wall, or you keep hitting that brick wall, and you're like, you know what? Why can't I get past this hump? Why can't I get past this brick wall? But could it be that even though you're good at where you are, it may not be where you're supposed to be positioned? And some of you are saying, well, I don't want to pivot. I don't want to get positioned into that because I'm not good at it yet. I'm not perfect at it. But can I give you a something for free, as my dad would say? Can I give you something for free? He's not looking for you to be perfect. He's not looking for you to be a perfectionist, but he's just really looking for you to be obedient and to get into the positioning of where you ought to be. The reality is a lot of times if we struggle with hearing it from God, sometimes God knows how to send people to tell us. God has a way of using strangers. God has a way of using people at the gym. God has a way of using people at the store or anybody that you come in contact with, and they can see a little bit further than you, and then they say, "Hey, why are you not doing this?" Or "Why aren't you doing this?" And your response is, "Well, I ain't there yet," or I'm not perfect, man. I'm not cut out for that." But let me be frank and let me be honest with you. Um, he's not looking for perfect people. He's looking for available people. He's not looking for perfect people. He's looking for available people. Now I'm gonna tell y'all something. I'm gonna be real with y'all. It's gonna be really hard for me on this podcast to me not be so preachy and me not to be so churchy with stuff, but you can't help what's in you. What's in you is gonna come out of you. But we have to learn to break the perfect image. We got to break that because sometimes we've allowed the perfect image to promote us more than the authentic self of who we are. Here it is now. I'm not a videographer. Here it is. I'm not um, camera savvy with all that stuff, but I'm doing it. I'm doing it by myself because a lot of times it's not about being perfect. It's about trying it and seeing what happens. And then it's also about just moving into the position of where you need to be. And I think a lot of times people don't step up to the position because they want to hide. They want to hide their struggles. They want to hide their proclivities. They want to hide the things that they're dealing with. But you'll be surprised that some of the people that's in the position that you want to be in, or in the positions of where you're trying to get to, have some of the same struggles. The only difference is they have not allowed their struggles or allowed what they were dealing with to keep them from going forward or being in the positioning of where they need to be. A lot of us need to take on that mentality, because if I would have waited, let me be transparent, if I would have waited for myself to get it all together, I wouldn't be where I am now. One thing that I understand, I tell people, in order to plant a seed, you need some dirt, and seeds grow in dirt. Now, I'm not saying do intentional dirt, but there's some dirt in each and every one of us. As a matter of fact, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. From dirt we've come, and from dirt we will return. But the seed that's inside of us still needs the dirt that we're struggling with, still needs that, right? Because that dirt is what's going to push us. That dirt is what's going to help that seed grow. And a lot of times people want to sit back and say, you know what? I'm not where I need to be, so I'm not going to step up to the position of what I've been called to do. I'm not going to step up to the position of what he or she may see in me, because I'm not perfect yet, because I'm not where I need to be. But I don't want you to miss your moment because you're still stuck on I'm not perfect yet. And here's the reality, like, you'll exhaust yourself striving to be perfect. Like, you will. Like, I know a lot of people um in the gym, right? I'll speak for myself, but I know a lot of people in the gym, man, like going crazy trying to get themselves to look like uh whatever, an action figure or a bodybuilder, this, that, and the third. Well, listen, as long as you healthy, as long as your blood level and all that stuff is good, you ain't got to be perfect to look healthy. You ain't gotta have it all together. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people wait for that perfectioning moment, and perfecting can be exhausting. And sometimes when you're trying to perfect stuff too much, you kind of make yourself look fake. But at the end of the day, you gotta just be who you are, and the people that's gonna like you is gonna like you. And the reality of what it really is you don't gotta be perfect to be positioned. And I've really saw and I've experienced a lot in pastoring these past 3 years, even just doing the will of God, and being in the position of where God positioned me. A lot of people be be Lord have mercy, how can I say it? They be holding up their own blessings because they're waiting for themselves to get together, when God is like, I'm waiting on you, and I'll get you together as you go. I just need you to get in position. The reality of what it really is like God uses broken people all the time. Matter of fact, the old saying, and a lot of us have heard this before: broken crayons still color. As a matter of fact, broken pencils still write. You may not have an eraser on the top of it, because some of us used to play pencil pop back in the day. But if you needed a pencil, you still had the tip on the other side to write. God uses a lot of broken people. He used Paul. He used David. He used Peter. I'm not going to get all the way into it, because I didn't get on here to preach. I came to just talk to you guys, because the station is going to be a place where I help people. Now, let me just say this really quickly. I'm not a mental doctor. I'm not a doctor by no means, but I do have my experiences. And I tell people that you can read as many books as you want, you can be informed, you can go to school as much as you want. That's cool. But if you have no life experience, if you have no grit behind it, it's one thing to be informed, it's another to live it. That's just the reality of it. But you're waiting to be perfect, and God never calls perfect people. He perfects them along the way. He calls people that are willing. He's calling people that are willing to get in the position of where he needs them to be. Now, here's the reality: a wide receiver cannot catch a pass if he's at a position. If I need him to run, I'm old school. If I need him to run a fade or a down and out, and he running a streak, when I get ready to throw the pass, if he's not where I asked him to run to, if he's not running the route that I gave him to run, he's out of position when I throw the pass. And the reality of what it really is God has been throwing a lot of things at us, but we want to run our own routes. We want to run our own way. We want to go the way that we want to go because we think it works better that way. And here's the reality, right? He gives us grace. He'll let us bump our head, but then he'll let us come back. But you don't have to be perfect to be in position. I promise you. I promise you. Here's what I've discovered. Here's what I've understood about my own life. I can only speak for myself. Uh, you can have flaws and not lose your faith. You can have flaws and not lose your faith. What do you mean by that? Owning your flaws. Owning up to those things that you're struggling with. Owning up to those moments where you know what? I messed up in this relationship. I messed up in this friendship. I messed up at this job. I messed up wherever it is. But owning it and still having the faith, right? If we're going to be honest, growth requires honesty. Growth requires honesty. You can play on everybody else's timeline. You can play on everybody else's face. But if you're not honest with yourself, my dad tells me self go everywhere self go. You can't run from self. And you can be in the process and still be chosen. This is why you don't got to be perfect to be in position, because you can be in the process and still be chosen. I'm going to say that again. You can be in the process and still be chosen. Here's the reality of it, y'all. Every day we live, we go through a process of development. Every day is a day of learning. My prayer has been these past couple of months, y'all, that every morning I wake up throughout the day, God, teach me something new. Reveal something to me, either within myself or about people that's around me. Because every day is a day that we can process, right? And the reality of that is like you can still be in your struggle and still show up. You can still be in your struggle and still show up. I used to play sports. I'm going to give you another sports analogy. It's many athletes that struggled with pain. It's many athletes that struggled from an injury but still showed up because their faith, because of their hunger, because of their love for the game. They still showed up, right? And what we got to understand is you don't lose your faith because you struggle. You lose it when you don't step up to where he's positioning you to be. I literally want people to understand this, that if we're going to align ourselves up in the things that we want to be accomplished in our lives, we first have to position ourselves with our spiritual creator. We have to position ourselves with God. We have to position ourselves with Christ. We have to position ourselves where he calls us to be, how he calls us to be in it in that season. Well, what do you mean by that? Listen, God know what you're struggling with. God know what you're dealing with. He knows everything that you got going on. But that does not mean he still won't position you or position you to the places of where he needs you to be. When you're positioned by God, he already know you're not qualified. He already know you need work. He already know you need some things that needs to be done with in your life for you to see yourself the way that you want to see yourself. But the old school preacher would tell you, whom he calls, he qualifies. Whom he calls, he justifies. Whom he calls, he sanctifies. What does that mean? While you're in the positioning of wherever he's calling you to, he's going to work with you. He's going to deal with you. That's why even for me with my own ministry, I had to get in my own mind that my voice is already attached to the remnant that God has already assigned for my life. So I can't worry about what people think I'm not. I can't worry about what people think where I'm not supposed to be. I can't worry about that because I'm positioned where God needs me to be. And as I grow and as I go through the process of things, God will perfect me. Perfecting comes from God, not from man. Reality is this. Yes, we can get a compliment. Yes, somebody could big you up. Yes, somebody could make you feel like you're the biggest thing on top of the world. Yes, they can make you feel that way. But your perfecting doesn't come from man. Your perfecting comes from God. God positions us the way he wants to position us. If we're honest, your purpose, y'all, is attached to your calling. Your purpose is attached to your calling. And your gifts are attached to your purpose. Here's the reality. You can be good at something and you can be doing numbers at what you're doing, but it's not progressing the way that you need it to progress. It's not that you're not good at it, it's just you're not in the position of where your gift is supposed to be making room for you. The Bible tells us that your gift will make room for you. The gift can only make room when you're in the positioning of where you're supposed to be positioned. And watch this. Let me go back to the struggles. Let me go back to the flaws. Just because you have flaws, just because you have struggles, just because you have moments does not mean your assignment is canceled. Does not mean that your assignment is canceled. Many people have missed the mark because they've allowed their flaws or they've allowed their struggles to keep them stagnant. You can't do that. You can't do that. You can't do that because what you'll realize is that there's somebody always watching you. There's somebody always saying, you know what? How is he or she going to get up from that fall? Oh man, they dogged him or her. They dogged them, and you didn't hit the quota at your job. You whatever. You had a task that you needed to do, and you didn't get it done, or you didn't get it completed. You know somebody's watching to see how you gonna bounce back. Somebody's watching to see how you gonna pivot from that. And the reality of what we really need to understand is just because you have a struggle does not mean that your assignment is canceled. We cannot allow our imperfections to keep us from being positioning. I'm going right back to it. Position is about placement, y'all. Placements. Some of you that know about the music business, when you write music and you write a song, if you don't want to put it out as an artist yourself, you can shop it around to get it placed, and those are called placements. When you allow your mind to make you feel like you're not qualified for something, you can miss the positioning of your placement. Positioning is about Positioning is about placement, not perfection. God didn't choose you because you were ready. He chose you, excuse me, because he knows you. He chose you because he knows what's inside of you. He chose you because before you were formed in your mother's womb, watch this, I had plans for you. I had plans to prosper you and to give you an expected end. I just need you to get into the position of where I'm calling you to be. And here's the reality, right? A lot of us don't step up to it because it's uncomfortable. Well, you can be sitting in the place of where you're sitting right now and sit there too long until it becomes uncomfortable. Okay, let me bring that to the life for some of you. Because if I sit on this couch for too long, after a while I'm going to become uncomfortable. Yes, it's comfortable now. Yes, I'm satisfied now. Yes, I'm sitting where I want to sit, but after a while it will become uncomfortable because I need to get up. And what happens is, yeah, God will let you be in your place and be in your spot where you want to be for a while, but then he'll start making it uncomfortable because I need to move you. I'm going to start making it uncomfortable because I need to get you to the positioning and to the placement of where I need you to be. So yeah, you're uncomfortable because he's trying to promote and push you to his positioning. You have the mindset of you're not qualified. Yeah, well, you're not qualified in man's eye, but you're qualified in God's eye. Your positioning is for your purpose, y'all. A lot of people always ask me, man, yo, hey, how did you get to the place of being in your purpose, man? Like, bro, you do so many things, but you preaching and teaching and you talking to people and you doing the things that you do, man, you really walking in your purpose. Well, I stayed in his face. Even when things didn't make sense, and these for the past 3 years, I'm telling y'all, even when things didn't make sense to me, I had to be obedient to it, right? And the thing about it is, like, as you grow and as you mature and as you change, everybody can't understand it. But at the end of the day, you can't forfeit your positioning for somebody else. You can't even forfeit your positioning for you putting it off saying, I'm not where I want to be. I'm not perfect yet. Listen, when you stay and you sit back and you don't move to where he's calling you to move, you actually make life harder. You actually make things take longer than what he probably had planned for your life. Matter of fact, there was probably something that he was going to give you tomorrow that he's not going to give you tomorrow because you still won't step up to the plate and be in the placement or the positioning of where he needs you to be. A lot of us are hiding when God says, you don't have to hide from me. Let me heal you so you can come out of hiding and then I can position you. You don't have to hide from me because I know you. I already see you. But how about you let me heal you? And once I heal you, I can position you to where I need to place you. A lot of times, and if I'm real with you, y'all, if I'm real with you, there are a lot of things that as a pastor, sometimes I want to say, you know what, God, like now, like for real, like, and he's like, yes. And the reason why I'm being transparent with y'all is because if we are going to walk this walk, if we are going to live a life that we're trying to accomplish the things that's in our life and in our path, they're only going to sustain when we're in the positioning of where he placed us. So we got to stop. We got to stop comparing your journey to somebody else's journey. You got to stop comparing yourself to somebody else because at the end of the day, we've all been uniquely made in our own way. We all going to have our own imperfections. We're all going to have our own mistakes. We're all going to have our moments where we feel like we're not where we want to be. But that does not mean we can't step up to the positioning of where he's trying to place us. We have to get to the point, and I'm almost done, of starting to embrace our growth in no matter what stage that we're in. Because I go back to the plant example. Plants and roots grow down and out before they sprout up, which means you're going to have more down and out moments before he sprouts you up. Because once you're rooted and grounded, you can't just be cut down. You literally have to dig a root off and out of the ground in order for something to not grow back. Because if you cut it off, it's still going to grow back. And I want to tell somebody that even though you feel like you're not perfect, even though you feel like you're not where you're where you want to be and you're not where you're supposed to be, I want to encourage you that it's okay. Just because you're not there does not mean you can't let him position you. Let him position you. Let him place you where he needs to place you because you don't have to be perfect to be used. You don't have to be perfect to be placed and used by the man upstairs. God has so much for your lives. I tell people all the time, He sees you and He hears you, but He wants to know if you're going to be obedient to what I'm telling you. We say at the Refuel Station Church, I see where you're at, but I need to hear you where you're at. And once I hear you, are you going to hear back from me? And are you going to be in obedient and alignment to where I'm trying to position you? Because the reality is yes, you're not perfect, but you are at a position. And you're at a position because you're letting your imperfections and you of not being perfect keeping you from the path and the placement of what God has purposed on your life. Even though you're in the process of development, try not to lose your positioning. Even though the wind may blow very hard and the storm may hit and you may have death in your life, you may have lost a job, you may have been in a relationship and that messed up, whatever. Even though those things happen, don't allow those things to push you at a position. And if they do a little bit, try to stand a little bit firmer, because you got to stand firm on where He positions you and how He places you, because there's purpose in your positioning. I want to say this to you, that this has been an amazing first pilot episode. I pray that everybody that joined this station talk today was able to get something out of this. Remember, at the station podcast, this is not the place that we run from it, but this is the place that we grow from it. This is the place where we get everything we need at the station.